appreciate everybody's attendance. I did fail to excuse Commissioner Hadfield. He is out of town, and so he won't be here with us tonight. So Commissioner Summers is going to pinch hit and offer our invocation, and then we will have our Pledge of Allegiance, and our Community Development Director, if he comes back in, Scott Lyons, will lead us in the pledge. I thought that was him. Oh. If not, if he doesn't make it back, Mark, would you be willing to do that? Okay, thank you.
Our dear Heavenly Father, as we come before thee tonight as commission in Box Elder County, Utah, we appreciate thy hand in on the things that we've been able to do here, the freedoms that we enjoy, the things that are about to happen throughout this county that have taken blood, sweat, and tears and lives to be able to have this great sesquicentennial happen. May we remember those things that people left along the way, that we might be able to enjoy the freedoms and the things that we have now. Please bless everybody that's coming to and from our area and from Utah, that no harm will actually befall them, and that everything will run smooth, that the volunteers will have thy spirit to be with them, and that everyone will be able to do those things that you would do if you were here. Please bless our law enforcement services and paramedics and fire and everything else, that they might be able to go home at night safely also. Please watch over us as we have the commission meeting tonight, that we'll make proper and correct choices in all that we do. Once again, we are so grateful to live in this free country and be able to worship the way we please. We say these things in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Please rise and join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Scott. Okay. Did you have a chance to look over the minutes?
Well, I wasn't here,
You weren't here.
so we're going to have to wait till
Yeah.
next meeting to
Okay.
be able to approve those, or I would, since
We'll have all three of us here next time, I think.
I hope so.
Okay. We'll hold off on the minutes. Very good. Okay. Any former agenda items or anything else that we need to cover, Marla?
Yes, I need to make a motion on May 25th that was left off on the art on Main Street. So the date was left off, so I need to add that as a former agenda item.
For the use for the arts?
Yeah, the art
Okay.
on Main Street.
All right, very good. I'll second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Very good. Anything else we needed to cover or was on the agenda from prior meetings?
No?
Okay. Appreciate Brian being here, sitting in for Mr. Steve Hadfield. So, okay.
Do you want to talk about why I was gone last week, or last time?
Why were you gone last time?
Because I had the opportunity to go back to the White House again, and go back and meet with about 100 other people throughout the nation and talk about opportunity zones and some of the other things that are happening throughout the nation. And it was an interesting time. It was just before the Mueller report came out, and everybody was on pins and needles except for those of us that were coming back and were on the White House ground and talking about things that are happening inside our communities. I had the opportunity to go actually work with the tribes while I was there, and to think about how lucky we are to have the northern band of the Shoshone in our area, and the things that we've been able to accomplish with them, and that this administration is actually reaching out to not only us as county and city people to help. It's not always the little people that gets this stuff pushed out to them. And it's been interesting how far that this administration wants to make sure that the economic benefits come clear to a little place like Box Elder County and Tremont and Brigham City also. So I was very lucky to be able to do that, and then talk to the Department of Interior and and the BLM also. We just lost the BLM director he was from Utah. He was Brian Steed. He's actually now the DNR director for Utah. So we're hoping to find him, hopefully another local boy to go back and be the BLM head there. And so a lot of things are happening. I guess stand by with everything else that's going on in the feds. But I think we're very lucky to be able to know that we can call when we have problems, and even in DC, and still get answers. So, and I hate to fly, so I just telling you, I did that out of the goodness of my heart. So thanks.
Well, thanks for taking one for the team. So if you'll head back there, I'll stay in the county and take care of things any day. So very good. Okay, if we've got everything former covered, we'll move on to our agenda this evening. First, we will be hearing a UTA report, an update from Beth Holbrook. She is one of the commissioners for UTA. So thanks for being here, Beth. Yeah, if you just want to come up and, yeah. Yeah, bring everybody
Is there
up.
3 chairs?
And then
Grab a chair.
when you speak, if you'll just state your name in the microphone for the record, and then tell us what you've got to tell us.
So good evening, commissioners. Thank you so much for the opportunity for us to be here. For the record, I'm Beth Holbrook. I am the UTA commissioner for Davis, Weber, and Box Elder County, and I am really honored to be here tonight. I have had the pleasure of getting to know the commissioners, and this has been such a great opportunity, and so I just wanted to say thank you. Before we get started, I'm going to turn it over to my team. I have Hal Johnson here and Marisa Egbert, and they're going to talk about some specifics in regards to Box Elder. But I did just want to talk about one thing in regards to the Spike 150. I did send this to you guys via email, but I wanted to just put this on the record. So UTA wanted to make sure that we were doing what Box Elder wanted us to do, and so we're providing 4 buses, and those buses are going to be, 3 of them are going to be the wrapped buses. The 4th one is unfortunately in Salt Lake, but we're going to get those 4 buses out here, and we are going to be heading to Promontory, and then we're going to have parking at Thiokol. And the first bus is going to Promontory is going to leave at 8 a.m., and the last bus to the parking lot will leave at 4 p.m. So we're just going to do a shuttle formation, and we'll have all 4 of those buses in a shuttle. And so anybody who parks in that area, we are taking them there, making sure that they get to enjoy the festivities at Promontory. And I have to say, I am so excited to be there next week. This is going to be such a great opportunity. So with that, unless you have questions.
We appreciate everything you've done. I know it was a harebrained idea that we came up with, at the first of the year, and you guys worked really hard with us to be able to get those buses wrapped. And if anybody hasn't seen them, it's really cool to see that going down the road, and in Salt Lake and Ogden and every place else. And we really appreciate being a part of UTA and for the things they've been able to do to help us with the Spike 150 and the Sesquicentennial. Thank you.
Yeah, they look sharp. It's a great addition, so thank you.
Thank you. You guys approved the wrap, so you guys chose a great one. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Hal Johnson. He's going to talk about some of the projects that we have now, and then Marisa will take over.
So thanks for having us out tonight. It's really great to be here. I think I put together a few slides for you as a leave behind to, talk about the work we've been doing to preserve right-of-way. And so if you remember, the sales tax was passed in 2007 for ultimately developing future transit options in Box Elder County. And so we had been accumulating that for a few years, and now we've been actively working to get out and purchase right-of-way using those dollars. And so we've been working and meeting with a number of property owners in the corridor. And we've also done an agreement with Department of Natural Resources, Division of Water Resources, to jointly acquire a corridor, because we've been talking with them, and we thought it didn't make sense to have two different entities going out trying to acquire right-of-way in the same corridor. So we put together an interlocal, interagency agreement between the two of us to jointly acquire property. In that agreement, UTA is leading the property acquisition. We have more experience acquiring property as we bought, literally probably 8,000 parcels over the last dozen or 20 years building our rail system. So we have a lot of depth in real estate acquisition, and so we've been leading the process to acquire property, but working cooperatively with natural resources. So we think it'll make it a lot easier for landowners, as well as just make a lot smoother process, save us all some money as taxpayers. So that's a big thing that we wanted to mention to you. And so what we're trying to do with the right-of-way acquisition is generally UTA is trying to get a 40-foot corridor, and Natural Resources is trying to get another 100 feet, so a combined 140 feet. In some of the corridor, in a lot of the corridor, actually, Box Elder County owns the right-of-way that was the old interurban right-of-way, and so we've been assuming that we could use a portion of the old Bamberger right-of-way as part of the project, and so that kind of minimizes some of the impact to the private developments that are in process. One of the things I didn't put in the presentation, but I'll just mention to you, is we've been working with the county on the transit study that's kicked off recently, and so we think that'll help really identify more. We had previous studies that were done, but didn't really look as comprehensively as we are in this current study, and so we think that'll help really set the stage for future transit options working with the county. Most everything we're doing right now is willing buyer, willing seller, or willing seller. So we're just working with primarily developers that are trying to develop in the corridor. And our goal is really to get ahead of houses. And so we want to buy land before it's being improved, before it's platted, and before houses are put on it. So we think that's really important right now as development's happening so quickly in Box Elder County. And so that's what we've been targeting to do, is get out ahead of that. There's a little cross-section I included in the slides here, about 4 slides in, so you can kind of see what we're looking at. We think ultimately the right-of-way, especially the piece that Natural Resources owns, we'd love to see that built as a trail and a feature for the county to be a park and a recreational feature in addition to the water line. So we think it's a great win-win scenario as part of the development. So a couple other things. We went out for a procurement. We got 6 proposals back. We ended up contracting with Meridian Engineering. They're helping us do survey work in order to further define and identify the parcels we need. That's been really critical as we've been working with the landowners to be able to give them good information about exactly how much land we need. And then we've just been out working with, got discussions going with about a dozen different property owners right now on trying to acquire property in the corridor. My contact info is on the back here if you have any questions. I also just have a few cards. You guys. These are just informational cards, so if you have any constituents that have questions, you can just give them the card there, and it has all my info on it. And there's a link to our website. It looks a little funny, but it's actually, when you type out the whole link on the UTA website, it's really long. So we figured out a way to shorten it, and so there's a link on there that takes you to the website that has lots of great information. And so any questions that you guys get, just feel free to give them my info, and happy to work with them. And just want to mention your staff here at the county's been great to work with, so we really appreciate working with you guys to help move
We're
us
looking
forward.
forward to the transportation plan being brought up to us so we know what we can do with, Cache County and us and Weber Davis. So I think it's going to be an important part of this all happening together, so.
Yep, and I'm sorry, I didn't touch on this, but we've also been working with Weber County to try to acquire right-of-way in Weber County as well. So we have, it's a little different process in Weber County, so we've been working through some issues down there, but we're working to try to get right-of-way in both counties.
Good.
I love this conceptual right here, because that was one of the questions I had is, how much right of way would there be? Because I'm obviously not an engineer, but I would think that if you have a pipeline too close to railroad tracks, it can wreak some havoc on it over the years. And so to see how this is laid out and how far apart they are in the multi-use, I mean, this is great. This makes a ton of sense.
Great.
So, very cool.
Thank you. I'll turn it over to Marissa.
Just want to point out that one of our board members is here, Charles Holmgren. I'm sure you know Charles. He's one of our board members at Water Resources over this area. And our board, it is in the presentation there, but the board did actually commit specific funds for right-of-way acquisition. So I think we're about the same amount of money that ETA has got. So we're ready to go with our funding on the right-of-way acquisition. So.
That makes a ton of sense, especially with the way the property values are increasing. I mean, it'd be almost impossible to catch up if you didn't partner. So this is good.
And if we end up doing my crazy idea, then we'll still have the acquisition for parks and trails and stuff. And if we end up going the other direction, then we'll still be able to have both of those at the same time, which.
Yeah.
And if I may, we just talked to one of the developers today, we are planning that, we need 70 to 100 feet for construction purposes. It's a very large pipe, and you got to get some big equipment. But we are fully expecting it to be a utility corridor, not just for a pipeline, but because there's been discussions about that there's a sewer line that's going to go through there. And so we're very much in discussions about those sorts of things.
So it could be sewer, fiber.
Yep. There's lots of room in there, and eventually the pipeline will have to come in, and we'll have to move things and adjust things. But UDOT would prefer that rather than us trying to move the utilities under US 89 eventually.
I think most of the people that live in Perry and Willard would appreciate that as well.
Yeah,
Especially what's happening right now.
Yeah, it's important to note we will have to go through a NEPA process eventually. This is not a set location for this pipeline, but it just made sense to work with UTA. We've been meeting with them and running into them at BRAG meetings for several years, so it's been good.
Well, I appreciate the conceptual with my mindset, what you brought me tonight. So
Yeah.
that makes a lot of sense too, to be able to take that off, go down through the promontories and across the causeway and end up right there. So hopefully when I'm dead and gone and this pipeline actually happens, that they'll make the right decisions for the constituents. So thank you.
Cool.
One other thing I wanted to point out, and I know that UTA is meeting with the planners up here on a monthly basis and really wanting to make sure that we're connecting and engaging in that aspect as well. And, we wanted to thank you for the opportunity to do this. And of course, if you have any other questions, you are welcome to reach out to any of us, and we will help you out. So.
Well, we have your number.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
And I would also, if it's okay, like to come back a little bit more frequently to give you some more updates. So I was thinking every 6 months or so.
Oh, yeah.
If you're agreeable, we could come back and give
Absolutely.
you an update about what we've been doing.
Yeah, I think the more we know, the more we can help. So
Yep.
Great. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you. We'll see you next
thank
week.
you.
Or come to the horse parade
That's
or the
right.
hoedown. We'll see you this
And
weekend.
it's planning manager, not project manager. See,
There you
I finally got this.
Nice catch.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks for coming out.
Charles, thank you.
There's a tracker for house location at all times.
Very
Really?
good. Good to know.
I was just going to ask where that GPS was put, but never mind.
Good to know. Hey, thank you very much.
Thanks, you guys.
Thanks, you guys.
Have a safe trip back.
We'll see you next week.
Okay.
Okay, very good. Thank you. We appreciate them coming up to give us the update on that. So, all right, and let's see. I believe that we have Larry Douglas was going to cover the CLG grant. So, come on up, sir. Thanks.
So, as you know, I'm a volunteer for the county to do their certified local government program for historic buildings. So I am back because I made a clerical error in the grant. And in the grant, I have deleted 2 projects in Brigham City, reconnaissance survey of the downtown area and historic district. But those 2 projects will be covered by other means. So what we have left is the pass-through grant, in which a contractor is hired to do a reconnaissance survey of Garland, Utah. And that's what's covered in the grant. And the county will be paid a maximum of $7,000 after they pay the contractor around $6,500. So it's a true pass-through grant now. Anyway, I'm glad I caught that mistake.
Okay. We appreciate all you do, especially the volunteer service.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No
Yeah, for
problem.
keeping that straight. Marla, is that something we need a motion on, or is it just
And it's contract
information?
19-28.
Which one?
19-28 is the
Okay.
contract number.
I'll make a motion to approve the contract number 1928 for the CLG grant program.
I'll second that. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Very good.
Thanks,
So,
Larry. Appreciate your help.
Yeah, when you sign that, just give it to Marla and she'll send it to the state.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming up.
Sign as contractor. That freaks me out a little bit, to sign as a contractor. Okay. All right, very good. Let's see. Paul, you're up.
Good evening. I'm here, as we are every year, asking your permission to use county grounds for the Brigham City Arts Festival. The festival will be on June 8th this year. For, I think, the second year in a row, the quilt show will actually be over at the Academy.
Oh, really?
The Quilting Guild has kind of made that their home, and so we don't need the building, but there are some uses that we may want to be able to use some of the grounds. We've been working with Cody to coordinate with him on this, and we just want to get your permission and also just invite you to come on June 8th and have a good time.
We'd love to be able to partner with you like we usually do. We appreciate you bringing everything to the county. I'd make a motion that we get permission to use county grounds to the Brigham City Arts Festival on June 8th.
Yeah, I was just looking that up. It's a Saturday. Okay. Cody, did you have anything on this?
No, I've been working with him about some power.
Okay.
It's pretty limited out there, but
Right.
we'll be able to work it out.
Okay. All right. Very good. I'll second that motion. Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thanks, Paul.
Come see the Beatles.
It's a great event.
Yeah,
See the what?
the Beatles.
Ah,
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
Beatles tribute.
Tribute band.
Yeah.
Are they the
That's
same ones
cool.
that come up to the fairgrounds?
Fairgrounds.
Or is it
They
a
are.
different group?
What was their name?
The Beatles tribute band?
Oh, no,
I don't
there's
know.
a lot of them out there.
Yeah, I don't know the name.
I can't remember what they're called, but it should be fun.
Cool.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. All right. It looks like we're to the Scott Lyons part of the program.
Okay, first item on the agenda is ordinance 497. This is a text amendment to the South Willard Neighborhood Commercial Zone. The applicant is requesting that the use professional office be included in that zone, and also a definition of professional office. And you should have that there in front of you, but I will go ahead and read it into the record. So the definition would be included in our definitions chapter, section of the land use code, and that is a building where the business of a commercial organization or a professional person is conducted, limited to normal office activities, not including accessory functions of the business. And then the use of professional office would just be included in the use table. So this went before the Planning Commission during their April meeting. Public hearing was held, and the Planning Commission has forwarded a recommendation of approval.
I appreciate the work that they did because there were some really good questions that were brought up and the definition of it and how that played out. And so I thought that was healthy, and I think they came to a good conclusion. So
I'll make a motion that we pass ordinance 497 text amendment to the SWNC zone. Is that what you want to?
Yeah,
Okay.
that works.
okay, I'll second that. I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Next item is South Willard Development Rezone. So this rezone request is from the R120 zone, which is a residential, single-family, half-acre zone, to the master planned community zone. This went before the Planning Commission in January, and they held a public hearing and forwarded a recommendation of denial. Following that meeting, we, before bringing it to you, further reviewed the application and feel that the application isn't complete. And with that being said, we don't feel comfortable with the commission making a motion to approve or to deny an incomplete application. So we counseled with the state property rights ombudsman, and his recommendation, as well as county attorney's recommendation, was for the commission to motion to send it back to the planning commission, and for them to review a complete application and make a recommendation based on that.
So when we send this back, it basically throws it back into the applicant's hands to complete the application, get everything ready, and then resubmit.
Correct.
Okay. Now, at that time, it's the planning commission's option to either hold a new public hearing or just go off the original? Or would they need to hold a new one or does it just depend on how much of the substance of the application changes?
Yeah, based on what the ombudsman said, his recommendation was to hold a new public hearing. He said
Okay.
that's always the safest, but they can use the public hearing they held if the application doesn't change substantially. So
The problem that you're going to get is if anybody's upset about it, and they want to challenge it, if there were substantive changes to the application and there's not.
Nothing to
public
speak to.
hearing, you run
Yeah, that was going to be the recommendation. It was a long evening, and I'd be willing to sit through it again if we need to. So
I'll make a motion that we take the South Willard Development Rezone R120 MPC and send it back to planning and zoning for an incomplete process.
I'll second that. I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye. Hey, I have Representative Lee Perry out there that needs a jacket for this weekend, so I gotta hurry. Give me 5 seconds.
Okay. We'll take a brief recess while. Hey, Representative, do you want to come in and say hi? I tried. Hi, Lee.
You gotta be in far west, so we had to trade.
Okay.
Thanks for your indulgence.
He gets a chance to harass us on the floor at the legislature. We don't get a chance to return the favor very often, so. All right, Scott.
okay, next item is the Phillips Acres subdivision. This is a one-lot subdivision. The one lot is 1.5 acres in size. It's in an unzoned area of the county. Has been reviewed by all applicable departments and comes with a recommendation of approval.
Very good.
Yeah, I'll make a motion we approve the Phillips Acres subdivision.
I'll second that. Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I guess for the record, I usually give the address. I'll list that off real quick. It's 10739, so 10739 north, 4800 west.
That's out there.
That's ways out there, huh?
You know where that's at?
Next one is the Nick and Lindsay Nesson subdivision. This is also a one-lot subdivision, half acre in size. This one's located at 9404 North, 6000 West. This one as well has been reviewed by all applicable departments and comes with recommendation of approval.
I'd make a motion we approve the Nick and Lindsay Nesson subdivision.
I'll second that. Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And
522 is taken off.
yeah, so we'll go to the
Stephen Welling.
Welling subdivision.
I know where this one is.
This one as well is a one-lot subdivision, 8.5 acres in size. This one's at 15955 North and 6000 West, also in an unzoned area. And this one has been reviewed by all applicable county departments and comes with a recommendation of approval.
I'll make a motion we approve the Stephen Welling subdivision.
I'll second that. Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Did you guys want to sign those now, or I can leave them and you can sign them after?
Let's sign them. Let's not, yeah, we won't make them wait.
That's cool, thank you.
That's cool.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, so that's an actual, oh, I get it. Oh, thank
Sign
you.
extra.
Oh,
Just
okay.
keep going.
There you go, appreciate it.
Oh,
Just make sure it's not above $50. I don't want to have to report it.
Some have the years,
We'll
some
put that
don't.
on one of my suits.
Okay.
This one has my Lady Justice here.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you.
A lot of work.
Thank you. Are they? That is pretty good.
Salted caramel.
Oops, I might have just smeared it.
The next one's off too.
Yep. Yeah, this might be dinner tonight. I'm batching it for the next 3 days.
Serious?
Lisa's down one next coffee.
You got some of these?
Oh, yeah.
You got some to give out?
I might take a couple. That's her. I'll have to look through and see if I've got any of these laying around and get some of the.
Brandon Maskell brought me 2 uncirculated.
Brandon Manson? Really?
I gave these to Lee during the session. I just barely getting them done.
Didn't have anything else to do.
Oh, I'm picking a bunch up tomorrow.
Thanks, sir. Let me know.
He hasn't told me yet.
Okay.
Thanks.
Hey, thanks, Sean.
Thanks, Scott.
Thanks. Okay, our 526 is off. That one got taken care of. So 528. Well, there's a blast from the past.
All right.
Welcome
Do I look
back.
like Steve Hadfield? No. Steve is not here tonight, as you know. So,
We know who you are, but if you'll state your name for the record.
Julie Jacobson, grant writer for the county for the victim services. I am here to give a report and kind of go over what we're kind of doing, and I'll be kind of fast. I always give you guys updates on how many victims we take care of in the county. And since October of 2018 to today, the new victims we have is 281. Current caseload, we have 690 victims that we're still taking care of. Referrals and services that the Victim Services has provided since October is 13,119. Those are
In 1
services-
year.
And not even a year since October. So that's like 6 months, 7 months. We have taken care of and helped 198 rural victims that are outside the city limits and in rural areas. And as your subdivisions are coming up, we're going to have more rural victims out there in areas that we'll be providing. We also have lost Judy Loveland. She was our victim coordinator that helped us get volunteers. She has left. Yesterday was her last day. So what we have done is provided that we take her position and a part-time victim advocate and combine it into a full-time position. I went to the grant people and asked them to do this for me, and they have approved it 2 months prior to the grant that I just did for the VOCA grant. So we are going to be putting that job description in for this full-time position. It is going to be funded by VOCA 100%. The benefits will be, as Jenica says, budget neutral. So the only thing will be the benefits, but it will be all funded by the VOCA grant. So we will have that person for over 2 years, depending on the grant situation. So we'll have another full-time victim advocate, which will help with juvenile court and the rural areas, which this person's going to go out to the rural communities, out to that Grouse Creek and Snowville and Park Valley and stuff, and go with our investigator and give services out there and let those people know that we're here, because it's really hard for the victim advocates now to be able to get out there and work full-time and go to court a couple times a week, and it's 6 hours almost to go back and forth to Grouse Creek itself. So we're combining that, and so we are putting that through. In that spectrum, we had, in that time, we've had over 150 felony cases and 219 like misdemeanor cases, and juvenile court cases, we had like 119. So we are very busy. Our prosecutors are very busy at the time. I know I come and I give you guys bad news every time I come, but this is the reason why, since I left, we definitely need all these victim advocates to be full-time. This was something that we decided at the last minute since Judy left, and it's just easier to do it that way, combine the two positions. So that person will still get volunteers. We have 6 volunteers right now that are helping our girls in court, which we need, and then we'll go from there.
That's awesome. Thank you.
And I will point out, I happen to know a little bit about this. I will point out that one of the beautiful things about combining this, and the grant folks were a little bit hesitant to combine 2 different ideas, was number one, we get a better pool of applicants because they're looking for full-time work in a field in an area where experience is oftentimes required. Plus, it allows our victim coordinator to also have experience as a victim advocate, so that when she does the training, she's also part-time being a victim advocate, and allows her to relay some of her experience. Judy Levelin was great, but she was not a victim advocate, and so there was a little bit of a disconnect between what's actually going on with victim advocates and the training, and so this will be a nice combination that will work out well for our office.
You'll see that I do post stuff on Facebook for the volunteers and stuff like that, so you'll see that, and I've been doing that. So we get the new grant in June sometimes, so it'll start July 1st, and it'll be 2 years. These grants are 2-year grants for the VOCA. We got our investigator for another year. He is going to maybe retire from APP. He also works for APP, so we might not have him for the following year, so I don't know what's going to happen with that, if we're going to do full-time or what we're going to do. That's something that County Attorney's Office is we're talking about. So, I mean, we are busy, and with all those new subdivisions that Scott just brought to you guys, this is the reason why we need these
Keeps
positions.
getting busier.
And it is going to be busier. It's harder to go out to the rural areas and do, and take care of all these victims out there, especially when you don't have UTA or buses out that way, to bring them to us. So it is harder.
Well, hopefully it won't get busier, but with population.
Yeah, I say that every year. I mean, for the last 7 years I've come to you.
So you get an idea of what's going on, just similarly related to that. We have a judge that comes over on a weekly basis because our current judge, Judge Maynard, is 15% higher workload than the judges over in Cache County. Wow. And so to balance that out, they're sending over another judge to take some of the spillover. So
Who is that that's coming over right now?
right now it's Judge Cannell. They
Brian?
rotated through the 3 judges over there. So when you look at that,
He does mental health court as well, doesn't he?
Yes.
He does. So as you look at that, you'll generally have 2 prosecutors for 1 judge. And we're not complaining. I don't know that we need any more help in the prosecution side, but we're handling 115% of the regular workload. We're pretty busy over there.
Wow.
So
Yeah, so we have those cases. We have juvenile court. You have justice court that our prosecutors handle. They handle a lot, and so just it's a lot of cases and a lot
Well,
of victims.
we appreciate everything you do, that's for sure.
That's awesome. So, thank you.
And so I just wanted to let you know that this is the plan.
Okay.
So we are going to put it out there. So
I think it's a great plan.
So the grant, the funding comes in July. You'll start advertising this, and then they
we
will start
actually
on
got
July
approved-
1st?
So we actually got approved for it to start in June.
Okay.
So actually before, so we're actually going to put it out there as soon as Steve gets back and looks at the job description.
Okay.
We're actually going to put it out, so it starts before the new grant. So we actually got approved on this current grant that we're
Okay.
on. It doesn't usually happen.
So you
but
can
we
have them
got it.
start as soon as you find the right candidate? Okay.
And then we're going to do the interview process and stuff like that, but we actually are going to get that full-time position.
And you don't
then
have to
they'll
chase
just
us down to sign the paper?
carry over to the new one.
I'm sorry, I just thought I'd throw that out there.
Awesome.
It was one of those last minute.
I want to make a motion that we approve the VOC AWA grant application
It's a
funding.
VOCA.
Vulcan Vawa?
Voca Vawa
Okay, what she said.
Very
Victims
good.
of Crime grant. That's the one with the new victim advocate that we're putting put out.
Okay.
Do we have contract numbers on those, Marla, or does,
No, those ones don't have a.
just grants? Okay. I will second that motion. I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Julie.
Good to see you.
Appreciate it.
I'll see you guys.
Corey. And everybody.
Wow. Wonder how come you brought the A team?
Okay. All right, Corey, you know the drill.
Yes, I do.
Just introduce everybody.
Corey Barton, Box Elder County Fire. Spencer Newman, our State Lands and Forestry and Box Elder County Fire Warden. Ken Thies, he's over State Lands and Forestry. He is the WUI Coordinator, Rural Urban Wildland Interface. And Scott McCombs from Bragg. So we spent the last 3 months developing our countywide, now I know it says wildlife preservation plan, but it's wildfire protection plan. I know. Not your fault. It's probably lost in translation right there. This is Title III funding that we're utilizing and getting that taken care of. So what you see in front of you is the wildfire. I almost said wildlife myself.
If you're doing it right, it does both.
It does. Exactly. It actually does. It does preserve the wildlife.
There we go.
But we started down at the county line on Highway 89, worked all the way north to the Idaho border, and then west side of I-15 along through there. You'll see in there it's broken up into several different sections, including the West Mountain, Howell Valley, Snowville. Then we move on out to the Park Valley and the Raft River Range, and then out to Grouse Creek and the Pilot Mountains. So basically what's going to happen from this plan from now, we're going out to the cities to help partner with this because it encompasses a lot of city area too, but it's mainly unincorporated Box Elder County that we're working with, and then bringing the cities on board to work with the plan. This is one of the requirements from our new state wildfire policy. They just changed the name on it, but this is one of the requirements of that is that we construct these throughout the county and all the communities. So that's why we're working in partners with the cities, because it helps match or meet their needs also as their partners in there. Where the county being the unincorporated, the largest share of the county, that's why we're actually taking the lead on this and working out from it. Ken and Scott have done an amazing job putting this together. I'm going to turn it over to Scott for just a second and let him tell a little bit more about the plan.
Yeah, so this was a good effort. We had a lot of different agencies come in and participate. We had the BLM, Forest Service, both ranger districts from Ogden and Logan, and then also the Sawtooth National Forest. We had Forestry, Fire, State Lands, and various county departments a part of this process. And so like Corey said, we broke the county down into 4 focus areas, and that we ran an assessment and a risk analysis, the wildfire risk, that's summarized in the plan. We also had Commissioner Scott and Hadfield also involved in this process as well. And so from there, we then developed a whole list of strategies related to mitigation, prevention, and preparedness that the county can then go ahead and execute as far as their participation commitment and the Utah Wildfire Utah Cooperative Wildfire System. There you go.
I don't have anything to add other than Forestry Fire and State Lands was working cooperatively to develop an agreement, a memorandum of understanding between the county and Bragg to execute these plans. So I look at this as a great success for all the entities involved. So if you have any other questions, go ahead. Our man on the ground over here is Sherm here.
Sherman.
Spencer, I'm sorry.
I was like,
Please forgive me.
It's Spencer, by the way. For the
it's Spencer, by the way.
Newman.
We knew that.
I think what we're doing here is, I want to say where we're encompassing the entire county. I think it's something that's
It's amazing.
not been tackled before or anywhere. I don't know that anybody's taken that broad of a brush to a program like this, where we're involving everybody and trying to bring everybody in under one plan. So I think it's pretty amazing the job everybody's done. CRM's been involved with it, and just about every association that we've been able to pull in here to put this thing together. So it's quite a document.
How hard is it to update?
It's not hard to update at all.
Okay.
No.
Now that it's done.
No.
Okay. You got one change you need to make. So
Okay.
I will point
you
out
got
that
a new principal at Fielding Elementary.
Oh, okay.
So
for updates, those are required to be updated every 5 years. So I think this is a good start to get this process underway. And it doesn't have to wait 5 years. It
Yeah.
can be a continually updated process.
Good.
yeah, just some of the simple things like that, like the schools, and just some of the folks that are on here with elected officials and things changing like that, or
Yeah.
BLM, Forest Fire and State Lands. If there's a change there,
No,
this is great.
everybody's required to stay right where they're at.
Okay. No, I love
Good luck
this
with that one.
because, I mean, I can look at this and say, okay, here's the guys we need to contact. So, and Alex Cabrero is the media contact.
Really?
So, yeah,
Well, there
we're in
you
good
go.
shape.
It's a win-win.
Yeah, we're in really good shape.
Yeah.
So,
He's a great resource up here
This
here
is
in the
awesome.
county, a great friend to us.
That's
this
quite
is awesome.
Thanks for putting that on.
Cool. You guys have done a lot of work.
Don't take this the wrong way, but I hope we don't have to use you at all.
Yeah,
Amen.
us too.
We're going to pass a motion right now. Think that'll work?
If we could hold some of this moisture for about 8, 10, 12 weeks.
Yeah.
So,
That would be
Cool.
great.
no, this is great. It's got all the information, but it's not 200 pages. So.
No.
Do you need us to make a motion to adopt it?
I do.
Yeah, it looks like there's some signatures required here. So.
Correct.
Okay.
Do we have a contract number on this, Marla?
I don't see one.
I doubt
Go
it.
for
I don't.
1929.
1929.
Yeah, there we go.
I'll make a motion that we adopt the Community Wildlife Preparedness Plan.
Wildfire.
Wildfire.
Preparedness.
Yeah, county.
Sorry, I was going off of both things going, how can I screw this up? And I
Well,
did.
County
Is it a
wildfire.
contract, though? Is it a contract?
No, it is not a
Okay,
contract.
so don't use 1929.
I'm not going to use 1929.
Okay,
Yeah, we're just adopting
Just a
the
plan.
We're just going to adopt this plan
okay, gotcha.
that what you said that's on this paper. And I'm going to make that motion.
Okay.
the Community
good.
Wildfire Protection Plan.
Have a
Yeah.
motion and a second to adopt the county wildfire preparedness plan.
See, you did that well.
All in favor?
Aye.
Plan.
Okay.
Thanks, you guys.
Hey, thanks.
Okay,
This is
thank you.
great. We appreciate
Thanks
your
for all
work.
Okay, just a quick item of information. We've got crews out now on Highway 30, mile marker 20 for a semi that's tipped over, leaking fuel.
Headed.
We've got health department out en route there, wardens and everybody else. So nothing, no major injuries, just 150 gallons of fuel going out of the ground and a mess to clean up. So
Gas, diesel.
diesel.
Okay.
Every time we have a commission meeting, it seems like we get a page out. So
Well,
Is there
maybe,
something I need to sign?
yeah, it looks like it's,
Oh, I gotcha.
so,
Put it on the spit.
by the time it's done, it's going to have signatures from every
oh, yeah.
agency in the or community in the county.
That's awesome.
Okay, do you have a copy that we're supposed to sign?
Go ahead and take
Any of these?
Any of them.
Okay.
Yep, any of them.
You just need the chair to sign. not all three commissioners?
Yeah, just the chair. And then we'll send the signed copy with Scott
I
to
didn't want to sign it
continue on with
anyway.
the counties or cities.
That's awesome.
Okay.
Thanks, you guys.
Well, thank you guys.
See you this weekend. And next weekend. Don't shave.
Not next weekend, you won't.
You're not coming out next weekend? Oh. Wow. See how he is? I'll have my birthday without you then.
Okay,
Thanks,
it's
you guys.
signed. So are we the first ones to sign?
That's awesome.
There we go.
Number one.
Okay.
Okay, thank you guys.
Hey, thanks you guys.
Thanks for coming.
Can I have your copy?
Yeah.
And I'll make you another one.
Do you want mine?
I just need one.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely want a copy to hang on to sometime because there's some good info in there.
Need a copy? I've got one.
You don't need that? You're not going to read through it tonight?
Not tonight, no.
All right.
I'm just thinking about this weekend, but I can forego
Okay. All right. We can get the digital one for you. Then you can read it anytime. Okay. Mark.
I don't know anything about asphalt boards, but I am going to have a cover of FEMA letter.
Yeah, we're skipping asphalt.
We're skipping asphalt.
Yep. Next week.
All right.
2 weeks.
Well, with pun fully intended, it doesn't surprise us that we're 2 years out from our flooding and we're still waiting in paperwork from FEMA.
Just because we had to do it all over again.
Yeah, let's not do that. What you got before you here is a letter that we're going to send to FEMA. We've got a unique situation. Utah is in FEMA Region 8. Box Elder County has an agreement with
Cache County.
Cache County, Idaho, to cover the Yost Road under a couple, contract on a couple of stretches there. And so that puts us as a sub recipient from Idaho's declaration during the same time that we had ours. Somewhere along the line, the decision was made to kind of sweep our claim off the table. So this is just a formal request. It'll go back to FEMA Region 10 to say, look, and we've got some verbiage in that letter. You'll see that shows the nature of the contract that we've got with the county and so forth. So we just need a signatures on this letter to request them to bring us back in and so we can receive the.
So the only thing worse in dealing with FEMA is dealing with two different FEMA regions.
Right.
Yes.
Gotcha.
And
All right.
they are night and day different on how they look at things and deal with them. And it's been even that much more painful.
I was wondering if we could just, can we go to FEMA, can we go to Region 10?
Well, we have to go to Region 10.
No, I know, I'm saying we could get out of Region 8 and go to Region.
Yeah, I'm not sure the Region 10 would be the better move in this one.
Oh,
Shaking my head over the whole.
there you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So, yeah, we just
I
need
will
that signature and we'll send that in.
Mr. Hadfield has reviewed this. He feels like there's some clerical errors in there, or he's concerned about clerical errors, and wonders if the county commission would like the Box Elder County Attorney's Office to review that.
I would
before
like
it goes
that.
out for.
They did submit
It is
that
going to be your
for
names on
review.
there, so you get to decide, but
I will make a motion that we forward the FEMA response letter per county attorney's quick look.
sure.
Okay?
That's
Clarify.
Steve's request.
For clerical errors.
Very good.
And then that'll just come back for signature once the stuff's approved, or we need to come back
Yeah.
with another.
Yeah, I mean, it's only been 2 years, so another 2 weeks probably won't kill us. So, yeah,
but
We
you know.
got,
We
I'll
can,
tell you what, we've got.
as soon as they look at it, it was okay, so as soon as
Yeah.
they look at it, we can sign it. Doesn't
Yeah,
have to go to
absolutely.
another meeting.
Yeah, so as soon as it's, yeah, because we'll approve it,
Yeah,
so.
if we just forward that
Okay.
to Mr. Hadfield, he'll look
Yeah.
at that and then.
All right,
He-
I'll go ahead
he
and
should
second
have
that motion.
I emailed it to him yesterday at the same time that I.
Yeah, he was headed out of town and.
Sure.
And we had other things cooking
You're
and he
fine.
says, we want more time to take a look at it,
Yeah,
so.
yeah, so it's, yeah, I understand it, so
Sure.
he's got the verbiage, so.
I believe so, yes.
If he wants to clean that up, that'll help out.
Okay. Very good. Have a motion and a second to forward this letter on to FEMA with the requested changes from the county attorney's office. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
Okay, that'd be it.
Warrant register. both, whatever.
There's some swag for you.
Cost me 27 cents.
It's funny because they've got that new sound system at the courthouse at $30,000 a quarter. We'll be at council table, we'll be talking, and so I get so used to it. And I'm like, I'll be darned if everything I say goes up on us. There's no way.
Really?
Some of the things we talk about are personal, some of the things we talk about are attorney-client privilege. You should be different.
So those are some sensitive mics.
Well, and here's what's even crazier. It's hooked in through the whole system. And they have speakers in the jury box. So the jury's not.
So if there's a side door.
Everybody's hearing it anyway.
Supposedly, they're running interference with white noise pattern.
Wow.
The bailiff in the jury box. He came over after one of our hearings and said,
I heard everything you said. That's nuts.
even the jury.
Um,
I end up doing this.
Hey, since we have nothing else going on, I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
What happens if I don't second that? There's only two.
I'm leaving anyway.
Oh, okay. I guess I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Chrissy?